They also did that. They meant.
It's weird that it's right outside.
I know, right? Yeah. I know, it's been, when you started, it was so dark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting.
I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Directors for the Pleasant Hill Recreation Park District. We are meeting in the district office, and it's nice to see members of the public here. Let's see, the first calling to order, the roll call. I see that 4 of our 5 board directors are here, and we know that Bobby Glover will be here at some point.
There's a softball game's over.
Yeah, as soon as it's on. All right, next on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. We ask Director Worst to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next part of our agenda, item 3, is public comment. This item on the agenda provides an opportunity for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board that is not on the agenda. When an item is not listed on the agenda, state law prohibits board discussion or action. Board members may briefly respond to statements made and questions posed. All right, so it looks like I've got 5 comment cards from folks in our audience. And this is a first since I've been here.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for sure. The first speaker card is from Gina Haynes. So if you would move up to the chair right over here.
Thank
you.
I will start the timer at that.
Okay, and the time for each speaker is 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
It's 5 here.
Wow. All right, great. Thank you. I am Gina Haynes. So Bocce has been playing in the league for the last 8 years. Many of those on the team are Pleasant Hill residents that met through our children playing organized sports here in Pleasant Hill. We have team shirts. Our team mom puts out a food schedule. And every week during bocce season, the 12 members of our team show up, play some great bocce, enjoy a glass of wine and each other's company. This is our family, our bocce family. We sign up every season and we show up in force. Quite often we have a full boat with 12 there. This has become a part of our life that we look forward to, depend on, we're connected, we're accepted, we're valued. Our friendship circle called Bocce is an integral part of the large bocce community that we belong to for the last 8 years. Many of the bocce teams in Pleasant Hill Rec District were quite stunned when we were notified that there would be no early registration available for returning teams starting in the summer. We would have to fight it out in an internet registration gun battle where the quickest to the keyboard would win the covenant spot. Just like vying for concert tickets, you have officially turned bocce registration into an internet race. Our sense of belonging, our deep connection in this community has been turned into garbage, unimportant, insignificant, of no great concern. I tried to get to the bottom of this today and reached out to Miss Lacey, the general manager. I thought this must have come from the board action since you all are the policymakers. She made it clear that this was a staff decision based on the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging strategic plan that the board adopted in October. When I read through the strategic plan, complete with action items and performance measures, there was not one action item that remotely suggested eliminating priority registration for returning teams. There was action items to allow fee waivers and provide registration materials in other languages, but not eliminate priority registration. This was purely a staff decision based on their belief, hiding it under the disguise of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging strategic plan. I reached out to some of the other local bocce federations and rec districts to find out what they do. Everyone I spoke to has priority registration for returning teams. Martinez, Concord, Benicia, Pleasanton. In fact, I'll quote this from the Martinez Bocce Federation website. Our league is extremely popular. It's difficult, but not impossible to join. Every February, returning teams sign up. We usually have a few openings for teams each year. Those can be filled by coming to the clubhouse at the courts after returning teams have registered. 8 years ago, Attaboche did the same thing. We waited for a spot to open up, registered our team. We created a place in our community to belong. Our lives, like many others in Pleasant Hill Bocce League, are deeply embedded in this community. Much like the belonging you strive for in your strategic plan, we already have that. By eliminating priority registration for returning teams, you are destroying the belonging. I'm here tonight to request the board review your strategic plan and decide if eliminating priority registration for bocce is truly the intent of that plan. If not, please direct staff to change summer registration procedures for returning teams. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Our next speaker, Marion Jackson.
Hi, I'm Marion Jackson, and I am the team captain for Max Pack, and I need my glasses.
Give you mine, but I can't see that. You really gotta do my eyes at one.
Sorry, I'm not prepared. Okay. So our team, Max Pack, has been playing in Pleasant Hill for 28 years, since 1996, eliminating long-standing bocce teams by not allowing at least one day for returning teams to register before opening it up to all, flies in the face of good management and appreciation for those who work with the parks and recs over the years on other changes. So build more bocce courts. Well, if you don't want to consider this, then have new teams play in the morning or maybe even the early afternoon, where there are 27 teams that were turned away last time, which is enough for 2 more bocce courts. So building 2 more seems reasonable, right? Also, online registration is not user-friendly and seems to be designed to get rid of people who have trouble registering before anyone else gets your spot. It was really difficult for staff last time who tried to help those on the phone or in the office. And it sounds like we are not allowed to get office help to register now. Not everyone is computer savvy or have computers, which is a form of discrimination. So I hope we can still access the office. And hopefully we can go into the office to get that help. Consider limiting 1 team, 1 league per person, which is the rule. It's in the rules. But there are a couple of them that are on 2 leagues. So that would alleviate at least a couple for new people. But there are those with 2. When we stated we all had to wait for an available spot, I hope this continues for new teams. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is James Anderson.
Hi, my name is Jim Anderson. Obviously, I'm here to talk about bocce. It came to our attention that registration changed. The Park and Rec staff made a decision to eliminate the returning bocce teams a one-day advance window for team registrations. I understand the reason for the elimination of returning team priorities is to provide a more equitable and inclusive environment. But in fact, that decision now creates an exclusionary environment. Many of the adult bocce players are seniors, and as such are challenged by the ongoing implementation and the changes in technology. In talking with a few bocce team members, they've expressed frustration with the decisions, and several have said that they will not attempt to re-register because of these changes. The seniors I'm talking about love to play bocce, but more importantly, this program creates an opportunity for them to get out for exercise and socialization. The fact is, these team members who have made Pleasant Hill bocce popular are your best asset. They tell their friends about the fun, and more people want to give it a try. My request to the board is to ask the staff to reconsider their decision to eliminate the returning team priority and draft a request for the board to consider new courts, or also to investigate adding more games on the weekends to accommodate additional teams. As an example of that, if you added one game, say a noon game on a Saturday, you could add 8 more teams. Enough said. I appreciate the opportunity to address the board, and I respect the decision.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
comments. Our next speaker is John Diggs.
Thanks for having me, and first, well, I'm here with these other bocce troublemakers, but I just wanted to thank the Pleasant Hill Park and Rec for your all the hard work you put in organizing the bocce leagues and running it. We appreciate it. It's a great thing for our community and our team. We've been playing for years, and we really enjoy it, and hope to continue to keep playing. I really don't have a whole lot to add. I think a lot of things have already been addressed that I wanted to talk about. I agree with everyone in regard to the decision to eliminate the priority for pre-registration. It's going to make it very tough to compete with all the other new teams that want to join. I'll read this, but it'll be better. It's not a matter of not wanting to allow new players and teams into the league. In fact, we totally support it, but it seems as though the teams that paid their dues and played for many years are now being penalized and face the possibility of not being able to play with the first come, first serve online registration process. As a lot of people stated, you know, I didn't want to come here just to complain, wanted to see if I could, you know, throw out some ideas for improvement or ways to work around allowing new people and teams into the bocce league. And most of them have been addressed. You know, I understand at one time there was an early time slot for Saturday and Sunday at 3:30. As someone had mentioned, if that was reinstated, that would provide 8 more teams at each location, an opportunity to play for a total of 16 teams at both parks. And then this has also been addressed, but you know, obviously this sport has become very popular in Pleasant Hill, and there may be as many as 28 teams waiting to join. And I was curious, feasibility study started to add more courts, you know, as it seems very warranted with all the demand. So it'd be nice to get that information to understand more about, you know, are funds available? Has it been discussed? You know, locations in mind, stuff like that. It would be very hopeful for us playing bocce to know if there's, you know, something coming down the road. So, and then, you know, is there any possibility of creating a waiting list system that can identify teams as well as individuals looking to join that could be accessed online? Individuals could be picked up by registered teams needing to add new players, and new teams could be assured their place in line while waiting. So again, thanks for your time. Just wanted to share some thoughts and hopefully, we can continue to keep playing.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments. Before I call Mr. Velez, is there anybody else who's going to make comments? I don't think this is the last comment card I have. Okay, all right. Joe Velez?
My name is Joe Velez. I live on Board Road. I've been there since '86. I've played on the Max Pack team for over 15 years. I came into the team when someone passed away. So I guess it was an inherited spot because I knew people. I am very impressed with what the ladies had to say here. They're prepared. I heard about this a couple of hours ago and didn't even think about writing notes. But my impression is, and I had texted this to Victoria, that I felt that the seniors were being aced out with the complication of using the online registration. It took me 3 times to register and I had to come down here and do it. Okay, I couldn't do it from home because it just wasn't possible for me, and I'm not the only one. Now I hear that they're not allowed to help us, so that makes it even more difficult. And then hearing about that they've eliminated the returning status of teams. I mean, I'm really disappointed in what's going on here. We're fixing a problem that didn't exist. So, my feel for this is, thank you very much. My complaint is not about the board, but it's about what the board is allowing to happen. I don't understand it. I don't expect to come back. Not that I won't try to register, but hearing that I can't come here for help, I see the writing on the wall. And so it's great to have young kids, young people, kids in their 30s and 40s, young people come in and take up the game. But on our team, we've had 2 members pass away. Like someone said, it's a social event for us. It's a way to get out, exercise a little bit, drink a little wine, you know what that brings. But we're being aced out. And it seems like, yeah, this is where we're coming to. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your comments. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come to our meeting and to make such profound and you've obviously thought a lot about what's happening. This is not on our agenda, so we won't be discussing it. But we thank you very much for being here and showing up.
The other option was to bring in the Great Panthers.
Will this be on a later agenda? Will it be a later agenda item?
It's, since we're not discussing it tonight, we don't know what will be happening in the future meeting. Director Bernard?
Yeah, one of the things we can do this evening, however, is to direct staff to consider some of the suggestions that have been raised here. My team, just for laughs, I'm sure has lost to every one of you over the many, many years that we've played. So I appreciate all of you coming in, the very eloquent words that you've said this evening. But my request would be then for our general manager to look into some of these suggestions. And also work on communication. I'm also concerned about the computerized registration issues that have been raised.
Yeah, and that has been raised and we'll work on options for that. So, yeah, with all of the comments we're taking into consideration, and we will most likely make some tweaks and edits before registration opens. But stay tuned for that, so.
Director Tran?
Sorry. Oh, didn't see that your hand was raised.
That's okay. In addition to our prior request on reviewing the computer registration system, not
only for this issue, but for all other issues. I think that just feeds into that prior request. But I also recall as well that even after hearing public comments, as a board member, we can request that it be agendized at a future meeting. And so hearing there's great interest in the public, I would respectfully request that this be agendized at a future meeting.
I think, the first step will be that staff will take a look at the comments, and if we think that needs to happen, I think we will get the information out there on what the results are. I believe the current opening day for registrations is April 29th, is that correct? So we do have time and to make sure people get information, any other discussion.
And it can be agendized at the request of the board, but I would like to make it clear that registration procedures fall under staff duties. And so how we implement that falls under staff duties. And this is a direct result. And it's not just affecting bocce, it affected all of our adult sports, but it's a direct result of your DEI strategic plan and the goal to provide equitable and inclusive access and to facilities and programs for all members of the community. So, while historical registration has been used here for a long time, it does not create equitable and inclusive access. I understand the registration issues that some people, I can't assume that all seniors have an issue with the website. There are some that are definitely able to do that, so I can't presume that. But we can presume that some people may have that issue, so we will look at that. So I just want to be clear that it is, I'd be more than happy to bring it back to the board if they would like for informational item, but it is staff. It is a staff function.
So that request for agendizing is to not look at the particular staff decision that's at the staff level. The request for agendizing it is to discuss it on a higher level on whether or not we can implement a DEI strategy that still includes the historical components of the city at large, with whatever cultural components that have been there. I am still full support of the DEI plan. I think that's an important component to recognize that the city has and will continue to evolve over time.
Yes.
At the same time, I'm just responding. The reason that I am requesting that, so it's not because of I want to review staff decision. I would like to have at least a discussion on a higher board level on what kinds of policies we implement that may affect the staff decision. Is that fair?
Director Lewis?
My question you had answered in regard to when the registration opens, so it sounds like, we need to seek to resolve this fairly quick. And, our only opportunity to maybe revisit it if it were to be agendized would be at the next meeting. So,
Yeah, the summer season doesn't start until July. So registration is happening relatively early, so we can, could
make arrangements. Yeah, that makes sense. I just didn't know when the date was. So.
Okay. All right. Again, thank you very much for your time. We have other items on our agenda. If you can stay, or we're free to leave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
I know I've lost to you.
Your phone's
His phone's about to fall.
He's gonna lose his phone.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
And my-
Sure.
Next on our agenda is reports and presentations. First is 4.1 from our Ex-Officio Team Council Representative, Lila Nikolich.
Hi, everyone. Haven't been here in a little bit. Teen Council is getting ready for their Battle of the Bands on April 26th. We have some bands, but we're still looking for more. But tickets are now available. I think it's posted on the Instagram, like the link to get tickets and everything. And then Teen Council also volunteered at the egg hunt and the underwater egg hunt on March 30th. Both events went well, but there was, like brought up before, there was some issues with registration. We did have people coming up to us and trying to register right then and there. And it was a little awkward telling them they couldn't. And then College Park Drama has their play Our Town tonight, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And they're also performing it on Saturday at 2 p.m. The College Park Choir has their CMEA competition this Saturday at Liberty High School. Additionally, they'll be performing the national anthem at the A's game on April 29th. College Park Band has their had their SoCal performance tour from March 30th to April 2nd. Furthermore, they had their CO and WE placement auditions from April 22nd to May 2nd. Spring sports are coming to an end. Stutt has a record of 6-2. They have a game next Tuesday against Miramonte and Clayton Valley, and then senior night next Friday against Alhambra and Acalanes. Boys tennis has their senior night next Thursday against Miramonte, and their record is 1-4. Boys volleyball has a record of 9-11, and their senior night is April 23rd against Acalanes. Baseball's record is 8-5, and their senior night is May 7th against Clayton Valley. Softball has a record of 5-3, and their senior night is also May 7th against Alhambra. Finally, swim and track have both had wonderful seasons so far. Swim has a meet tomorrow. Finally, leadership is holding class in ASB elections right now. They are also planning spring fling and the moving up rally. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Lila?
No, I'd seen our town when it was produced over at the lecture center, and that's a wonderful performance. I'm excited that you guys are gonna be doing that one.
Anybody else?
Just thank you to the volunteers that made the egg hunts work well. So that was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to 4.2, the report from the general manager.
Yes, so I included a written report in your packet. Just a reminder that Chilpancingo Park renovation plans will come to you on the 25th for board review and input. We've been excited about where that's going. The exciting egg hunt, I want to thank all the staff and volunteers that worked diligently on that. The rain held out at least a little while, so that was good, at least the main one. And you know, we're continuing to look at opportunities to serve more people, expand that, add more activities. So staff is looking at those options for the following year. And then just a reminder, the Rodgers Ranch Spring Expo and Plant Sale is this Saturday. There's supposed to be rain, so good luck with that. But you know, it'll make the plants very vibrant, which will be nice. And then the other thing that I wanted to put on your tickler is the Senior Resource Fair. Love, Laugh, and Learn is on Friday, May 10th from 8:30 to 12. And so that's always a well-attended event with lots of resources for seniors in the senior center. So if you would like to attend that, but that'll take any questions.
Any questions for Gian Lacy? Vice Chair Tran.
Yeah, just a question on the Chilpancingo in terms of just advertising these events, as well as, like, for example, the survey as well, to how staff are going about doing that. That had a few contacts from community members that they have not received information and they wanted to participate. Even the survey, I didn't even know about it until the day before it was due.
Yeah, the survey, I think, was something that was added at the last minute, and they did that via Facebook. So for the very first meeting, we didn't do it for the second meeting, but for the first meeting, we mailed postcards to within 1 mile of radius of the park. And so we mailed postcards to all of those residents, letting them know about that and asking them to contact us if they wanted further information. So that's how we got a number of those residents that came at the beginning. So otherwise it was advertised on on our social media channels is kind of primarily where we do those sort of things these days.
Any other questions?
Just a comment.
You may.
Yeah, just happy to see that the rental revenue is up, it looks like everything's being utilized, to its full potential. So.
We can always squeeze more things in there, but it's not good job. It is nice to see midweek rentals come back post pandemic, so that's good.
Yeah, the parking at the community center has been hard with Kaiser.
Yeah,
Having all the
yeah, when
classes
when
and
Kaiser
things.
comes, yeah, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, it's a tough one.
That's your turn.
I just wanted to ask about the website design.
Mhm.
Is there a timeline on when it may be completed by, and is there gonna be like a beta testing phase?
Yeah, so this is just for our regular website, our regular website, and so staff is working on that. I don't have a timeline yet, but once we do sign a contract and have a timeline, then we'll share that, so. It usually takes about 12 weeks. At least it did last time, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. We will move on to item 4.3, which is a verbal update on the status of the 23-24 capital improvement program projects by Lance Hurtado. Hello, Lance.
So just want to give you guys a quick update, answer any questions you might have about the capital projects so far. So we passed about 6 months since the board approved CIP. We've knocked out about half the projects. So I'm just going to go down the list here. They're not in any particular order. If you guys have questions, stop me. So so far completed projects, we are under contract with RSS Design for Dinosaur Hill project, as well as Shannon Hills. Tom's working with them, so the conceptual plans, we're waiting on those. So we are under contract. The wireless microphones have all been swapped out at all the centers. There are still some programming issues that we're having with those, but we're moving forward on that. So everything is in place. We just gotta have our AV company come out and do some slight programming over at the community center, but otherwise everything is in place. Let's see, the maintenance truck / van. So what I ended up doing, I think we had about $50,000 for a brand new truck and about 45 for a van. Combined the two amounts, and I got 2 used trucks and I got a van. So we ended up getting 3 vehicles for the same price, roughly. The van's getting utilized every day by Kid Stop, and then park maintenance crews using the 2 trucks. So they're smaller Ford Rangers. It's really what's suited for getting in and out of the parks. It's just much easier for the guys. The full size trucks just don't work for us anymore. So yeah.
Oh, I just have one question, because I don't remember hearing a follow-up on the truck that had been stolen, so.
Boy, yeah. So we have it.
I know.
Yeah,
you guys-
we did get that.
Yeah.
but was it beyond a point where it could be kind of refurbished, or is it?
We're trying to fix it.
Right.
Ford has had it for 4 months, something like that. The biggest thing was the catalytic converter been stripped off, so we had to wait for that. We're waiting on the gas tank right now. It's a 2007, so finding old parts and that kind of thing is really tough to track down. We're hoping to salvage it still at this point. They're working on it, but it's been a long time. I'm having to get, every week, check in with them. So, yeah, it's been a struggle.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question.
What's the 2 trucks in the van? Are they new or are they used?
They're used. Everything's used. For our purposes, I don't think we need brand new stuff. We'll be coming back to the board next fiscal year for a new dump truck. I think
How old are
that's-
they?
What's that?
How old are the trucks?
2020s. Yeah, so,
With fairly low mileage.
yeah,
Yeah.
one had like 7,000 miles.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they're all in good shape, yeah, definitely. So we got more bang for our buck doing it that way. So. Dye pool heater, you guys know that's been replaced. And a lot of the stuff we're putting in the GM report, I'm just kind of going over this, just get you guys up to speed on everything that we have accomplished. 6 cocktail tables at the senior center are in service. Teen center chairs we ordered, those have been in service now for a couple months. We also did the couches over there. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to take a look at those. It turned out nice. We're hoping that they hold up a little better this time than they did last time. It was relatively cheap getting them done. I was a little surprised how cheap it was. We'll see if the quality is there. Teen center paint, hope everybody noticed on the way in. Nobody noticed, all right. I see the looks. We just got that finished yesterday. So exterior of the teen center was done. All the wood finish on the outside is done too. So take a look. Probably better to try it, during the daytime, but really happy about that. It turned out nice. So, and then we're under contract with a security firm. So we got a risk assessment, I don't know, about 3 weeks ago, Tom and I met with them. They were asking for feedback on some items that they had pointed out at various sites. And so now it's back on them to come up with the final risk assessment and then the master plan for our security. So most likely they'll be coming to a board meeting in the future to present to you guys what that looks like. So we're moving forward with that. In the meantime, staff has been taking care of Tom's crew, and we subbed out some of the tree work around the lights. So they limbed up a lot of the trees, so the lights obviously are working better. Senior center and over here, we swapped out all of the parking lot lights over the senior center with LEDs. We're also adding a couple exterior lights, just to basically light up the place close to the building. And then we're gonna be replacing some of the heads out here. I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's one pole that's like behind the teen center, it's got a different head on it, and it's just, it lights up a lot more area, square area than the rest of these do, so, we may transition to getting those, in and out of the park here, so we'll see about that, but take a look at that too tonight when you guys leave. Then the replacement of plant materials, Pleasant Oaks, we're doing a little bit at the community center, and we add some plant material over there, so of the 20 or so projects, we've got about half of them done, so. The ones that are in progress, trash receptacles, we've got the community center carpet. We actually have dates on those. So May 6th, they're gonna do the Pereira Pavilion and come in and do that room in one day, rip it out, put carpet in. Then they'll be back on the week of August 19th to do the rest of the building. So it was the only time we could get in there for a full week to get all that stuff torn out and done right. So I was surprised to see that we had a full week where there wasn't anything going on in the community center. So we jumped at it, booked it out, so we're ready to go there. Community center columns are gonna be done in late May, so you guys will see that change too. And we'll attach pictures and stuff in the GM report, so you guys will get a look at that. It's always better to come check it out in person. Senior center carpet, so we're in the process of getting samples. Staff is kind of working with me, try to figure out what we want to do over there. And then from that point on, we'll go into a bid package. We'll work through that process. I'm hoping to get that done by the end of this fiscal year, but we'll see how that goes, because it is a process. Senior center chateau chairs. So we've got two that we like. We're gonna be getting votes from the seniors, probably gonna give it, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, let the seniors vote on which one they prefer. Then we'll purchase those. Renovation of the small bathrooms here, Pleasant Hill Park, we're gonna be swapping out the fixtures probably in June. Building maintenance crew is busy with some other things, but we'll be working on that soon. So toilets, fixtures, sink, that kind of stuff. We'll be swapping those out. Talked about Dinosaur, Shannon, and then the ADA transition plan. We did a few things at Pleasant Hill Park. I had the parking lot restriped, and then we're also gonna be putting in parking stops. So that parking lot will be quote unquote ADA accessible. And we'll be moving to other sites doing the same thing, just kind of taking one at a time there. So the only other things that are on hold, bocce courts, they're gonna talk about bocce. Bocce courts at Pleasant Hill Park. So we're gonna give it a little bit of time, get some more feedback about the Rodgers-Smith Park, because we're getting both sides of that, good and bad, before we move on these. And then,
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that?
Well, I asked them, so when we resurfaced the Rodgers-Smith Park, we got a lot of negative feedback at the beginning of
They're
that,
courts?
the courts, yes.
Oh.
We got a lot of negative feedback, so.
Indeed.
And so, there's been a lot of rain, they have settled down, I am told that they are rolling better. But I don't want to, we didn't want to just go ahead and move forward with the same thing over here if people are gonna continue to have an issue. So that is why that is on hold, and so we'll look at, making sure we have feedback, at Rodgers-Smith. We do have a group of guys who come over in the morning from Martinez and Danville, and they say these are the best courts in the entire county, so now the Rodgers-Smith one. So it's definitely a personal opinion more than anything else, I think. But the courts look really, really good at Rodgers-Smith. They drain really well, so we haven't had to reschedule as many games as we do at Pleasant Hill Park for this spring league. So we're looking at potentially a fall timeframe for that. Is kind of where we're at right now.
Well, there essentially is no surface at Rodgers-Smith Park, and it's wonderful to play on.
Yeah.
We're just playing right on the filter
Yeah.
fabric. I mean, it's carpet, it's basically is what we're doing. Yeah, but it's nice. I think if you came out and put ocean
Yeah.
shell on there, you'd have twice the number of people that you had tonight.
Yeah, so we're, so they seem to be settling out, so. But,
I don't know where it all went. I guess it all just drained.
yeah.
If the fines just went.
Yeah,
through the-
yeah, I think it just, yeah, I think
We removed a lot of it. And, we literally just took it off the top.
Okay.
And also with all the rain we've had, it's really hardened up the mat holes in there.
There's no surface. It's just carpet. That's okay. We're not complaining.
All right, go ahead, Lance.
Okay, sorry, yeah. Let's see, the teen center bathroom fix, I don't know if you guys remember, there's some tiles that are kind of popping up. It's really not a safety issue, it's more just doesn't look great, so we are gonna get to that eventually. And then the shade cell at Pleasant Oaks came in, I think, twice as much as we had budgeted, so we're gonna get a couple other prices. And then figure out what we're gonna do moving forward there. Definitely need to do it, trying to get it the best price possible, so. Questions? Went through that quickly, I know.
Director
Yeah.
Hurtado.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate the verbal report. There is a spreadsheet that allows us to track all of this. And so having it in writing to be able to look at the progress, what's completed, what isn't, would be very helpful.
Sure.
Anyway, we could.
Yeah, I asked him at the last minute to be added to this, so we'll do that in the future, so.
What was the last thing you mentioned on your list?
Shade cell?
I'm sorry?
The shade
Oh,
cell?
no, actually, there was one other. We've never seen the ADA report.
No, staff is working through that, yeah, we sent it to, we had it land in facilities.
Last year.
Yeah, last year, but yeah, no, we need to bring that to at least share it, so, yeah. We need to do that. Lance is working on getting dates in there before we can share that, so, but we'll go ahead and do that, we'll bring that, I'll put that on my future agenda list.
Are the sail shades that you're looking at similar to what's over at the playground at the community center?
Yeah, they're
Very substantial.
bill shades that will go right above the actual, can actually be attached.
But that quality,
Mhm.
is what you're looking at? Excuse me. Thank you.
Secretary Wurst.
Yeah, just one quick question. I think with the fixture replacements that you had planned out here, you said maybe in June.
Yeah.
Just want to try and make sure that maybe that could be done, in time for Blues and Brews, just,
Yeah,
when we start seeing a lot of people.
yeah, there's a sweet spot there where the bocce season should be winding down before Blues and Brews, before the next season starts, so I don't wanna shut them down during bocce season, we got enough going on with that sport, so, there'll be some time when we can get in and out of there.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't affect Blues and Brews, very mindful of that.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Thank you, Lance.
Sure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll get Lance on a quarterly basis and he'll provide you a written update as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Next, we have the consent calendar, item 5. There are 3 items on the consent calendar. Anybody have any questions? Or a motion?
Question on.
Secretary,
Question on item 5.3. I'm supportive of the decision, to reject the bids and rebid the Rodgers-Smith. I guess, was there a review by the design consultant to kind of evaluate the bids and the variability with those?
Yeah, so I reviewed them, as well as OSA's team reviewed them as well. And there were a lot of irregularities with the bids. None of them were consistent. There were a lot of things missing. And the biggest concern was buried in the plans for that our landscape architect put in. He put a note to assume that there was asbestos removal, and only one bidder actually caught that and had the certification, the subcontractor certified, and that was the highest bidder. So we legally recommendation by OSA was to reject all bids and then make sure that there isn't, and if there is a hazard removal, that we state that up front in the requirement for licenses so that it isn't buried.
Okay.
So that's really the biggest reason.
Okay. That helps.
So as well as the only person who caught that was the highest bidder. And
Then we may end up seeing bids coming back appropriately to address the
hopefully,
concern for.
yeah, I mean, hopefully, because it's I've talked to Tom, it's a cinder block building with a roof, there's no tiles. there really shouldn't be an asbestos, in the building, even though it's old, so.
It's kind of an abundance of caution.
Yes,
just to make
yeah,
sure that's-
apparently he said that he puts that note in all of his projects, so, and
Mm.
I did not catch that, so, so I think, so we're gonna, so that's the recommendation, and so we're gonna clean that up, and then we'll rebid. Maybe, won't we?
Unless anybody has any other questions or comments on the consent calendar, I'll entertain a motion. I'll move the consent calendar. Director Bernardo moves the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Secretary Worst seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Next is our action items, and
Yeah. I was gonna say-
before we do that, I'd like to acknowledge that Director Glover is here, and also, how did it go?
We won, and my kid got the game ball, so
Nice.
All right,
Nice.
that's, yeah,
congratulations. I didn't want to have to wait till the
Way to go,
end.
coach.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, 6.1. We have received the report regarding the district's financial statement at half-year point. And we have Chris Petlock, our Administrative Services Manager. Go ahead, Chris.
Good evening, everybody. As I wrote in the staff report, at halfway through the year, the district seems on track to meet forecasted revenues. Some of the highlights, as you noted earlier, community center rentals are up significantly from 2023. Tax collections are up about 4%. Seems there's still a strong local real estate market and turnover. And senior center revenues have increased about 33%. And again, we've moved adult activities, which was kind of held to the on its own previously. We've put those together, and then I've updated previous years for a more fair comparison. And as I've noted previously, a lot of the district's expenses, particularly the UAL, which is one of the bigger one-line items, is front-loaded in the year. But year to date, it seems that the district is really doing well according to budget. It seems managers are very prudent about their spending and hiring. And again, the cash position, which cash is king of just short of 6 million on hand at year end. And the district's in a very strong financial position, in my opinion. And as Lance had mentioned, at least at the year end, they spent about $500,000 on capital projects, and that was some of the items that you had mentioned previously. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions, and if there are, we'll also have the other superintendents here for.
Does anybody have any questions of the 6-month review, Director Bernard?
Chris, I still see that childcare, Kid Stop is upside down, and do we have any, we talked about doing something about it. Are we doing anything about it?
We're working on that. So, so part of the upside downness is that the way that, that the revenue is realized at the start of a program. So the summer registration for last year was in last year's budget, but the expenses for July and August for staffing is in this budget. So it will work itself out when this year's, when this year's summer reg money comes. So you will see a rebalancing of that. We are looking at, well, there's a couple things we've taken.
Do we do childcare in the summer?
Yeah, we do. We have a very full, it's a full program. He does 80 kids a day out there. So that's actually our largest portion. We've added the van, so they're picking up at other schools that don't have access to childcare. So that, and we are just making sure that we're within our required ratios, that we're not overstaffing. So, so we're keeping everything, we do have, if we have only 10 kids, I still have a requirement to have two staff there, right? So, but we're staying within ratio. Our full-time staff, he is in ratio, and we're picking up the actual transportation element is starting to pick up. And so like at Strandwood, and so I think that's gonna help us return to some of our larger numbers, especially
Right.
when next year happens,
Well,
right?
that's what
So
we talked
yeah.
about doing. I just
Yeah.
hadn't heard that we were
Yes.
actually doing it.
we are doing it,
Awesome.
started that, and that was one of the vans that's the van that land spot.
Okay.
So,
Oh, shoot. Well, can you come back to me?
Sure.
Remember what it is.
Anybody have any other comments? Questions?
I guess it's back to me again. So we had budgeted, what, like 1.5 or 1.6 million in capital projects, and we've spent $500,000.
we spent $500,000 as of December, that doesn't include January, February,
December,
yeah,
okay,
December.
okay, got it,
Mhm.
thank you, thanks for
Yes.
clarifying that. So we are on target to at least get to $1 million in expenditures.
Yes, I mean, some of that is that Rodgers-Smith, some of that is,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's a fairly large expense, so.
Oh, yeah.
So
Hmm.
that may be, depending on when we go out to rebid, but yeah, that's a fairly large, that's
Okay.
a large portion of that,
Okay.
so. But yeah, we will probably be close to $1 million, by the end of the fiscal year.
And then I know that we upped our rental rates
Mm-hmm.
this year. That's probably reflected in the larger generation of revenues compared with last year. But it doesn't, I guess what I'm seeing here is it has not deterred people from renting the programs or the buildings.
Yeah, it has not, so it was only for new rentals, so anybody who had already booked a rental, we book a year in advance,
Mhm.
they got the old rates, so. So it's definitely not deterring people, and there's still, people who are rebooking. Like if they had a booking in January and they're rebooking for next year, they're at the new rates and we're still full, so. So it still is definitely not an issue.
And then I don't think we ever, do we ever do a policy about what our reserves ought to be?
We have not done that. That is on my list to have a conversation with
With the land
OSA.
facility?
Mhm,
Oh,
yeah.
with OSA?
But yeah, as far as reserves go, yeah, with OSA, there's some state law around that, so. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Cindy.
Anybody else think of anything in the meantime?
It just was, noticing, events and teens are slightly over budget, for this time of year. Is there any reason or rationale for that?
Again, they have a lot of expenses that happen
Front-loaded.
in July and August. At least in teens, and then the revenue comes in June, so.
it's a timing.
Yeah, it's kind of a timing issue, so when you look at the full budget, it definitely is comparable. So they'll definitely catch up there, and the events, the largest event is Blues and Brews.
Mhm.
It's our, biggest cost, and that was in the beginning of this fiscal year. But the good news is overall, we're at 50%, which is at 50% of the year of the overall
Yeah,
budget.
overall, it's
Mhm.
tracking. Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
You bet.
We look
Anytime.
forward to hearing more at the end of the fiscal
Yeah,
year.
we're in the middle of budgeting, so.
Mhm.
All right, thank you very much.
Acknowledge that the lake was just tearing it up.
The what?
I saw that.
It's like, I haven't seen those. in a-
The API, I know,
Hey,
it's been late for forever, I know, right? Lake and the county, like, we used to get like 0.1%, wait for a while.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
All right,
Even that.
we are,
5 basis points.
and I completely forgot about,
Yeah, we don't have any public comment, I would have stopped you.
I know you would. Thank you very much. Keep it on track. Item 7 is verbal report from committee chairs and the opportunity to set meetings.
Mhm.
We don't have anything at this point. I did have a conversation with staff. We want to get the program committee together to have a conversation about events. So I'll be contacting them. And so that we'll do, and then we have a budget and finance committee meeting set. I have requested some meeting dates from the city. And I've been told they are getting them to me, but, and I ran into Juanita, who sets those meetings, goes, oh yeah, no, I'm working on it, Michelle, so, okay, I just need some dates.
Thank you.
So.
All right. Let's see, we are down to item 8, board announcements and requests to staff. And we will start with Director Glover.
Yeah, no, the only thing I had, I had seen in the GM report, I was pleased to see that reaching out to the Black Families Coalition, and it's something that we've talked about on the periphery here, but there's been a lot of noise that, you know, like happening in the community, and I want to make sure we're a part of what's happening, like listening to what's happening, because there's a lot going on, and I just feel that, you know, being a part of it, I know that they've reached out. I know that, I don't think it was obviously public, but that letter was sent to the city council. It's been sent to the school.
I'm sorry, what are you?
There's a letter from the Black Families Coalition, so they're parents of Black students at College Park High School.
And I saw it on Rants and Raves.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
Has
an
that
unfortunate.
reached the board?
No, it didn't come to the board. It was just on, I saw it on Rants and Raves,
I
so.
just figured as elected leaders in this community, it would be something that we should be, you know, aware of that's going on. There's some issues that are taking place at College Park, and there's some families that are concerned, and you know, I think that there's an opportunity for the district to, I think, be a part of an overall solution for the community, and you know, so that was my only thing. I think that they've been around since last year, but I think they're getting their footing. They've had events, they're having events in the park. They're utilizing our facilities to hold events. I think that hopefully that would be something that
Yeah.
would be amenable to, you know, allowing them, you know.
Yeah, and I did reach out to them, so I
Awesome.
got a response back that they do want to meet, so.
But yeah, I think it's a huge opportunity for all of us to be a part of a conversation that, you know, could benefit the community. Anyway, I was pleased to see that, so thank you.
Thank you. Director Bernard.
I wanted to recommend the Love, Laugh, and Learn program to everybody, if you have an opportunity to attend it. It's not just about nutrition or you know, health, those kinds of things. It's about care. And that's just a really important topic right now. And to the extent that we're you know, working as a district to help support care, either in their homes or in assisted living facilities or whatever, for our senior population, I think it's important for all of us to go and to hear particularly what the true cost of care in your home is nowadays. And it's shocking, unaffordable for a community like Pleasant Hill. You know, I don't know that there's a role for us to play in trying to deal with the high cost of care. But maybe there is, you know, maybe there is. So it would be great, I think, for all of us to have an opportunity to go and listen to what some of the issues are that are going to be discussed at that program. I wanted to request a report, a follow-up on the preschool, I'm sorry, the Summer Camp Expo and the Civic Rec issue. And I know that we as a board had described some great concern about the relationship that we have with that organization, and I'd like to know a little bit more about where that stands. And also, I know there was some concern about the equity of computer registrations versus in person, and what ideas that, you know, staff is developing to try and make that a little more equitable. Particularly for those that are coming in and wanting to apply for scholarships, because they had to do it in person, and that just gave them no leeway really to get their camps. So I would appreciate a report if we could get that, just briefly. It's kind of where we're at. And lastly, I want to thank everyone for their participation, staff and board members who attended the Easter festivities. We had illness in our family, and so I wasn't able to attend anything. We'll be doing an Easter egg hunt for Mother's Day in our backyard. But anyway, we've had to postpone all of that, but it sounds like it was a great time. Anyway, thanks to everybody.
Thanks, Secretary Worst.
Yes, I'll start off with just an announcement. We'll be doing the Celebrate Your Community event on May 2nd, Thursday at the McHale Room. It's an opportunity for, you know.
I'm sorry, who's the we?
Oh, sorry. The Pleasant Hill Community Foundation. That's the Pleasant Hill Community Foundation is hosting that event to recognize the grant recipients throughout the year. A little over a year since it was last held during the fall of 2022. So we've got some people that we recognize, including a Park and Rec designated distinguished employee. and a city employee as well. So I hope that anybody here can, make plans to attend that function. So the other things, that I'm wanting just to quickly go through is, in regards to the Easter festivities, I was kind of curious if we have, some metrics for how we judge like, the participant experience and engagement. It sounded like there were maybe some missteps a little bit that could be improved upon. So I'm hopeful that maybe there's some ways in which we can capture that feedback after the event and use it to improve, future events. And then the other things that I wanted to, say is that I really appreciated it. I didn't say it in the staff report from Michelle, was the engaging ideas they had for the teens during the spring break camp. Some really unique ideas of getting the kids out and doing some kind of neat ideas and neat events for that. Also, kind of a little bit based on what we had heard earlier, I'm just encouraged that our staff will, kind of look into what can be done with the registration for bocce and kind of come up with some good solutions in regards to that. It makes me feel good about how the district has invested in refurbishing of the bocce ball courts. It shows there's a strong demand for those, and I'm hopeful that that's kind of included as part of our planning going forward for expanding those facilities potentially as part of a bond measure or, Chilpancingo improvements, whatever the shape may be, but it shows that there's a broad community support for bocce in our neighborhood. So those are just the things that I had on my list at this time. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Vice Chair Truman.
Oh, thank you. Just wanted to echo the comments about the Easter festivities, which my daughter and I did participate in. So it was quite fun. There are some challenges, of course. I think that one of the biggest ones is how much we should really police the Easter egg hunt. 5 eggs, they have 5 eggs, right? It's all you can get. But then the parents sort of, especially for the younger kids, the little tiny ones, stealing eggs, so that there's some kids who aren't getting very many eggs, which is really a sad story. But it's a little bit top heavy in the sense that the older kids had so many eggs, because as you get older, the kids don't want to chase eggs anymore. Everyone was taking 20 eggs, and there's still like 100 of them out there. So maybe some rebalancing of the number of eggs by age group might be the better way to do it. So I agree. Maybe some sort of measure, sort of looking at how the district runs that program to make sure that all the kids get 5 eggs every single time. This month is Arab American Heritage Month. Hopefully we can do something to recognize that community within Pleasant Hill. Next month is Older American Month, and the city is doing a proclamation for that. There's a recognition that I just did a presentation to the President of Council the other week on our demographics. And so we are now at about 8% of our population is the octogenarian, 70, 80-year-olds. That's a huge number, right? For people who are that old in this community who may require services or other types of things. And so I think the city is recognizing that the issues are not going away. And so they're using the month of May as a way to sort of highlight the issues. I think that perhaps we as a district could do something about that, because one of the things I also presented was a survey that we sent out to our senior residents in Pleasant Hill. The number one thing, I think I said this before at prior meetings, the number one thing that people wanted from the community is recreation, walking, biking, exercise, stuff like that. So it's basically living well, aging in place well. And so I think Rackham Park has that place within that demographic. So just put it out there for consideration. It's coming up in May, so Older American Month, I guess, or whatever it's called. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I was there at the Easter egg hunt. We did the check-in for the 0 to 3. Alan wanted to know what 0 to 0? Yeah, 0 to 3. I wanted to know what did we see any zeros? But it went well. And I think I think staff's already working on some things that can be tweaked, but I think part of it is the parents really, it's not so much the kids, I think part of it's their parents, but that was just sort of my observation in the early morning hours. I didn't think the lines were as long, but there's been some things that we did with the staff came up with for the haunted trail, and maybe they're, whatever they're looking at for the Easter egg hunt. I'm sure they'll come up with something creative, so we shall see. I had not been to the one where they put them in the pool, so I came down for that also, and got to see your daughter swims, so you didn't have to be in the pool with her.
Yeah, she reached that age where she
Yeah.
didn't need the special wristband.
And it was colder then, than it was in the morning for the egg hunt.
Yeah.
So it was, I saw some tall guy and he had a big robe on and, he had to get in the pool. And of course, it was very warm from what I understand, I think.
It was
81.
Yeah.
Cold standing there.
It was cold.
I was cold on the deck for sure.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was blue sky, but it was chilly out there and a little breezy. But they didn't care. They had a great time. But let's see, Love, Laugh, and Learn, that is a great event. We've gone have they had it twice before, at least?
Oh, several times.
Several times. So we've been to that. And it is an eye opener, just from the standpoint of the information that you can get there. And we've recommended it to friends who may have some kind of family members that might need to know some of that information. So I definitely encourage people, they don't have to be senior citizens, they can be younger folks who may be looking at things in the future. But it's well worth attending, and I mean, you can stay there for an hour and.
It's actually a program I think that's been going on for over 20 years.
Yeah.
It's a long standing.
Yeah.
We did break for
For
COVID.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID years.
Slow to come back, actually.
I think that's all I had for now. Our next meeting is April 25th. And with that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 8:06.
Your April 25th meeting is gonna be a long one, so just.